And our special guest.
We gotta scream for Ish.
I need y'all to make some noise. New York. Make some noise.
The reason is I already gave you it. You may not want to accept it, but this is not debatable. This is a fact. Their calculus is based on how they can sell the most tickets. You have no access to proof. I'm saying I have talked to him, and I know that he has the expertise. Getting a room full of middle class and poor people to spend money to figure out how to get rich. I'm not saying that's what this Investfest is. I'm just speaking in general terms now. It's only going to get the people who are already rich richer. It's not going to get people who don't
Talk
have.
about it.
Wake it up.
That's just a fact.
Wake it up.
Now, Investfest, I think, has more going on than that. Because I've seen these other events where that's what is going on. Again, I'm not dissing Investfest. I don't know enough about Investfest to have an opinion on it.
There are gonna be two guys sitting on a rock, and they're gonna be looking out at the cityscape of Los Angeles or Miami. It's gonna be all ruins. And they're gonna say, damn, we used to have an amazing civilization. I read about it in some of these books that's left over. It's like, for real? It's like, yeah, man, things were great. We had all kinds of stuff. We had people bring you food to your house whenever you wanted. We had, like, you go to a place and tip somebody, they dance for you. You have a great time. And he's going, what happened to it? What ended this great civilization? The guy's going to look up in the sky. He's going to go, dick rod. We just couldn't get off a nigga's dick.
Welcome back, and what's good? This is the Furious Robinson podcast, and I'm your host, Furious, your curator of conversation, wordsmith aficionado, voted most likely to be trending down the timeline. Hit the like button early if you here to elevate and build. Drop a comment if you here to remove the degeneracy away from your life. And you already know I am your big brother. Subscribe to the channel. This is a Sick Times Media production. You see the planes. And I just had to wake it up. I was having a very spirited conversation with Marc Lamont Hill on a Danny from the Stop Spaces. Shout out to WeWorks. We up. But looking at the dynamic of the conversation, I had to wake it up. Why is Ish, aka Antoine Darby, co-host on the Joe Budden podcast, speaking at Investfest? He has no validity in the space. He has no rapport in the financial world, but yet somehow he was tagged to speak at Investfest. Why? Clout culture in the age of attention. That's where we're at. As a society as a whole, you just got to look at the culture. We waste a lot of time with a lot of internet babble. A lot of internet babble. And as I dissect this conversation and really lay out the groundwork and context, stay with me through this, because at the end of it, we're going to wake up why a lot of this, to me, is actually tanking the culture.
Information out to the youth. Like, why doesn't he share some of these real estate tactics and all this financial knowledge? Because when you do see him speak into platforms, it's all red pill, it's all dating. So it doesn't really make sense when you say it, but I understand.
Well, but that could I mean, that's how you're making the argument. Now, later on, when you're kicking Ish's back, and you'll say it's because he's talking about the wrong stuff, right? So you can make an argument in a lot of ways. People might say that about me. Mark is supposed to be an expert in the Middle East, but every time I see him on Joe Budden, he's talking about hip hop or this, and the third, right? It doesn't mean I'm not an expert on the Middle East. It just means I don't use the platform for that purpose.
Do talk about
you talk about it a lot.
I guarantee you, Ish talks about money on that show more than I talk about the Middle East. I would bet my house on it.
No.
Wake it up.
Not in the sense of speaking about it on the JBN. I'm saying more so just even on Night School or just like outside of the Joe Budden network.
No. But we're talking about the platform. I'm just saying.
So just to give it some context, me and Marc Lamont Hill are going back and forth about how Ish is not a financial expert. And I'm simply saying, yo, Ish in the space does not have a digital footprint that leads me to believe that he's essentially Graham Stephan or Dave Ramsey or Peter Schiff. Insert any financial expert. I have my own favorites in the space that I won't wake up. So when I'm looking at it, and when I look at Ish's content as a whole, even as he spoke at Investfest, it's gender wars babble.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Now, when it comes to being an entrepreneur in the creator space and dating, do you feel like now as men, I'm gonna give it to the men. Do you feel like you meet women that are understanding of the time demands, being an entrepreneur in this space demands? Because you know now, if you don't text back in 2 hours, it's a motherfucker something problem. It's, what bitch you fucking? It's been 2 hours. Have you ran into that?
Absolutely. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I think a lot of people are accustomed to 9 to 5. So I owned a construction company a long time ago. In construction, I could be doing somebody's furnace or boiler at 11 o'clock at nighttime. The average woman or person doesn't understand that level of commitment. So a lot of times there's a disconnect there because I get off at 5 o'clock. I want you to be ready at 5 o'clock. I need you accessible at 5 o'clock. And sometimes for an entrepreneur, that's not possible.
It's street general knowledge. This is pseudo barbershop information. Like, this is fake facts. And that's not necessarily what I'm here to do. I'm not here to wake up anybody's bit or anybody's shtick. I don't really care about that. It's the dynamic of how companies and corporations like EYL can tag in these clout culture street generals to speak to the people and call it and tag it as Investfest, but at the same time spew the same internet babble that drags people down to the depths. Because why do we care about anything that, sadly enough, Antoine Darby has to say with no digital proof? I haven't seen any houses. I haven't heard about any real estate. I don't know about any portfolios. Why are we giving these people so much validity? Oh, I understand. It's the proximity to greatness. It's the proximity to the JBN. When people start throwing out these massive numbers, 20 million, 900,000, the tune starts to change. Let's run that bag up, but let's get back to the space.
I mean, even when you talk about being a business owner, being a landlord, and the challenges he had during COVID or the challenges he has about raising rents, these are experiences that help people think about their own experience. But again, you all can disagree, but I'm just explaining to you what I would have him on to talk about. And if I had him, and it's sort of weird that you're challenging my assertion that I want to have him on an online platform to talk about finance by saying he's never on online platforms talking about finance.
So essentially what Marc was saying was, yo, Ish does have the financial literacy to actually speak into the space and give great knowledge, but he hasn't had the opportunity. So what I want to do for him as Dr. Marc Lamont Hill is put him on my podcast and platform him to the people. I want to showcase his talents. Cool, that's dope. But currently and right now in real time, Ish is speaking into the void. This is gender internet babble in real time.
A woman wants to date you. You just said a pretty face and a fat ass is gonna even seal the deal.
I didn't know. He said it's extra.
Well, I said it.
Bonus. I said the whole opposite. Look, an average man outside don't know a $40 shoe from a $4,000 shoe. Some of us do. I said the average. The average man outside don't care if you got on Steve Madden's or Yves Saint Laurent. He don't. That shit that y'all be competing with on your own. A nigga gonna fuck you if you got a Michael Kors bag or if you got a Birkin. A nigga's gonna fuck you if you in a Honda or if you in a Bentley.
Jesus Christ, Ish, calm down, brother. This is unnecessary. I don't want any dating information from unks. I'm good, bro. I'm sorry. I'm gonna continue to say it. If you 45 touching 50, if you 50 about to damn near touch the grave, brother, go hang out with your family. I'm sorry. This is not the information I need from my financial experts. And this is what I'm saying. As I speak to Marc Lamont Hill and he tries to give Ish some type of validity, whatever. That's cool. That's your mans. That's dope. Co-host on the JBP. All of y'all are making that bread, 1.5 million. Yes, collect that coin. And I understand the play here. I'm not naive. If Ish wants to speak about dating content and suckers will listen, collect that coin, king. I don't want to see companies like EYL doing things like Investfest where I want to learn about investing, but now I'm hearing more gender babble. Things to keep me essentially distracted by the matrix, distracted and in the void. Because if you're actually trying to learn about stocks, investments, IRAs, bonds, flipping, whatever it is, where does dating come into play? Why do we need to talk about BBLs?
But how does that negate my point?
it doesn't. Two things can be true. He can be giving out red pill content and still be very versed in financial aspects. But when you look at his
No, but
digital, I'm speaking to his digital footprint
no,
online.
but
When you look at Ish,
but you're missing the plot. You're missing the point. This conversation was about whether or not I should have Ish on my platform talking about financial stuff, right? And the response I initially got was he is not an expert in that. And then I pointed out that he was, and then your response was there's no evidence of it in his digital footprint. So my point to you is the way to get a digital footprint on that stuff is to do that stuff. You all were just saying he should do that stuff. And I'm saying, yeah, that's why I'm putting him on my platform to do that stuff.
No.
What am I
no,
missing?
he is right.
Arguing.
I wasn't arguing that, but he is right in that.
And what Mark said in that very moment, very accurate. Yes, Antoine Darby, the financial expert, should be in the space speaking and teaching the youth on how to build financial wealth, financial freedom, as they would say. But no, when I look Ish up online, he's either speaking about the Joe Budden platform or he's talking about gender babble. So we now essentially have to live in reality, because I could say I'm a multi-millionaire, but if you never see me on a yacht in Greece, is it real? If I kept telling you, yo, I'm a home builder, I love interior design, I know all about blueprints and financing, and I'm teaching you the game about how to build it from scratch, how to buy land, and then you look me up and you realize I know nothing, I'm a mechanic. I'm just a mechanic, and you get none of the information. So what sense does that make for me to pay $300, $25, $5K? People were paying $5K to pull up to Investfest to hear Ish and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant speak into the void.
No, it's not. I got you, Furious. He wasn't arguing that point. Furious was arguing the point that you said he was an expert or an expertise.
Yeah,
That's what he
expertise
was
in.
really arguing. He
Yes.
wasn't really arguing you putting him on his on your platform.
Yeah, but the proof.
He is
but
right though. It should go up there and speak about finances. That's 100%
That's what I'm
right.
saying. All I'm saying is, if you're everybody, the only evidence you have that he doesn't have expertise is that you ever heard him talk about it enough, correct? Which is reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I have heard him talk about it, and because I feel comfortable having him on it, and then you can see him talk about it, and then you'll be comfortable that he can talk about it because you will have heard him talk about it, right?
What is this?
But wouldn't him coming on and talking about the very issues y'all say he doesn't be an effort at debunking it, and then you can make your determination about whether
Yeah,
you're
but
persuaded
when
or
is he
not?
going to do that? If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. He hasn't
it's not
spoken
a-
about finances yet.
Time out. It wasn't an if. Again, this exchange was about me definitely having him on to talk about it.
Oh,
And you
facts.
all were the ones resisting the idea of me doing it. It wasn't an if. I said I'm going to do it.
No, nobody.
We resisted.
I didn't resist.
Nah, actually,
we would
didn't
love
resist.
that.
We didn't resist. Actually, we would want to see it. Like,
Okay,
it's not
then
like we really want to see
after
it.
this conversation is over, I want you all to rewind the exchange. When I said the issue was going to come on, I gave him an example of somebody who would come, that he would come on for. The first response I got was that he didn't have expertise in it.
No, I was saying, how is he an expert in finances? If you Google Ish's name into YouTube, you're gonna get red pill content. So that's all I was saying. How is he an expert?
Exactly. That's all I was saying. How are we just tagging anybody as an expert? Yo, if I go to the BMW dealership and the dude that just knows how to essentially work on my car, he's a BMW coordinator. He's a BMW manager. Like, that's dope. That's a BMW. He's not an expert on cars. If I pulled up in a Volkswagen Beetle, would he know what he was doing? If I pulled up in a Bentley Bentayga, would he know how to work on that? If I pulled up in a Honda Civic, could he pull it apart and put it back together? That's what I think about when I think of experts. Ish is a barbershop guru. He's essentially a thespian on the Joe Budden Network as we try to figure out what is his actual bag now? Because I did think it was financial literacy. I did think he had me fooled. I thought he had 30 doors. I'm not going to hold you.
Niggas are fuck that.
Yeah.
Why them girls not white? All of these girls that they look for on TV, take away Kim Kardashian, take away select few ones, none of them ever got a fucking ring. They who everybody trying to emulate and who everybody trying to be, none of them got a stable household, pardon me. None of them got families with kids and a man, and they out in Dubai as a couple. These same chicks that everybody trying to be in Dubai by their motherfucking self with the sheiks get pissing on them for 25 grand.
True story.
Sheiks is making them fuck their kids for 50 grand.
Kevin Samuels light. We gotta chill. This is when I have to stop you because now it looks nuts and it looks insane for my financial planners to be on these red pill content podcasts, which is cool. Continue to collect the coin off lonely and depressed men. I get it. But when you start to say Dubai porta potty showers, I'm like, would Dave Ramsey even be involved in any of this? Like, would Peter Schiff be pulling up to the 8 at the Table podcast to talk about BBLs? So that's why I don't understand why doctors like Marc Lamont Hill continue to vouch for these men. Why companies, sadly enough, like EYL, would hire these people to speak about finances. I don't get it. But let's just unpack the bigger play in all of this. Capitalism 101. Taking that almighty dollar from you and spending it on me. Yes.
Yeah. So going back to the EYL thing, they did hire him. So Ish had that proof and validity on the JBN, right? EYL hires him, but then they hire him to be on a panel to spew gender babble. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's really him in that financial space, EYL then hires him at Investfest. Now he should really wake it up and speak to what you're speaking to about how you've heard him say financial things, but he didn't.
There's no leverage here. He did not have the opportunity to speak about financial aspects at EYL because he's not literate. He's not a CPA. He's not a fiduciary. He's not a financial accountant. What is he? They should have got JT the pocket watcher up there. That would have lit up the streets if they actually wanted to sell some tickets. But instead, they got Antoine Darby. And that's cool. That's dope. I'm not saying that Investfest isn't a great place to go see Magic Johnson and maybe get signed by the Black Effect Network. I'm not saying this isn't a great place to set up a booth and really get it off. Get your merch off, King. Maybe you can make back the ticket on that $5,000 VIP package. Whatever. I'm saying if we're getting 25,000 people to pull up to something called Investfest, then we got clout culture and minions pulling up, pseudo gurus, street generals, as they would say, giving out gender babble. How am I getting my investment back mentally? How does this serve me when it comes to, once again, the stock market, investing, real estate, etc.? And that's all I'm saying here.
So sometimes people think that people on these panels and speeches have more
Pull?
it's not pull, because pull suggests that you should want to change the job, right? It was a job.
I think it's the level of trust, right? They don't trust Ish to speak on financial aspects because when you look up his digital footprint,
no, that's not true. That's factually untrue. The reason is I already gave you it. You may not want to accept it, but this is not debatable. This is a fact. Their calculus is based on how they can sell the most tickets.
This is what I mean when I say capitalism. The goal of every company is to maximize profits and scale up. EYL year over year is going to scale up. That's why they always produce the numbers. That's why they always kind of give us a great show. It's because they want to continue to produce better numbers year over year. That's just naturally in business as a whole. And even in finance, yes, if you get your 8% return in the stock market, that's a great year. So Marc Lamont Hill is subtly waking it up. He's saying, yo, Ish has no leverage in the space. I'm saying he has no pull because if he did, he would have been in the market to speak about finances. But what Ish decides to do when he gets on different platforms is either speak about the Joe Budden Network or turn himself into Kevin Samuels Jr.
You might have a good ass man at home and he might make, let's say 80 grand. He might make 70 grand, but he don't take you to Tulum. You never been to Santorini. So you looking at this nigga like he a loser because everybody that you see on the gram is riding a camel in Dubai.
It's very disingenuous to the community as a whole as you have people flying to Atlanta to invest or learn about investing in the financial markets, but you have ninjas and unks like Ish giving out gender babble.
So then that's disingenuous some more. Then I'll remove Ish and say that's just disingenuous to the community as a whole.
I don't think so. Let me finish the sentence first, and then you can still disagree. The public would much more rather hear him talk about how to get rich than to hear me or you talk about how to get rich, right? It's just a fact. They would rather, frankly, they'd rather hear him talk about how to get rich more than Ian Dunlap, even though Ian Dunlap is better equipped to tell you how to get rich than Magic Johnson is, even though Magic is a billionaire. So it's not. And I agree to take it initial off the table. I agree with you 100% on that part. But I guess what I'm saying is that's just how those events work. And again, I don't want to make it about the participants, not just Ish. I don't want to make it about any of the participants. It's not about having pull. It's about saying, hey,
It's just how capitalism works.
yeah.
Everybody won't make it and everyone can't go. Because when I look at different corporations in the space, I can remove EYL. They all move by this same practice. Put it in their face and they're going to eat it up. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. We're going to sell you things that make no sense. We're going to give you information that you can do nothing with. We're going to have you fly to these cities just to link and build. But at the end of the day, this is just a party. This is just something to have some fun, get away for the weekend, meet some new friends, maybe build a community and create some memories. But are people making life-changing moves through investing? No. Are most people wasting money going to these conferences? Yes. You're not that person and you will never be that guy. But that's something that you can essentially sell. You can sell representation. You can sell the embodiment of you as a package. If you look like a financial expert and enough people say it, people will buy things from you based on that information. And that's the nasty thing about the culture. We live in a groupthink society. If enough people give you clout and validation, aka the Joe Budden network, somehow, some way, this man is now a financial expert. And I don't want to make it seem like this is coming off as hate. I just want to push the message that, yo, if you're not really in that bag and if you're not really in that pocket, stop saying it. Go be Kevin Samuels if you want to be Kevin Samuels, but stop speaking to financial dynamics and financial freedom because I don't see it. I got to see it. Put it on paper. Put it on wax. But I gracefully digress. Yo, if you don't know what Twitter Spaces is, tap into my Twitter, FuriousRobinson. You already know I'm on IG, same name, different game. Yo, hit the like button, drop a comment, sub to the channel. Who won the debate, me or Mark? Let me know in the comments. This is a Sick Times Media production. Stay dangerous.